Tour Divide is a unsupported mountain bike race, and we start in Banff, Canada, and we finish in Antelope Wells, New Mexico. The route generally follows the Great Divide mountain bike route as published by Adventure Cycling Association. I've been targeting 25 days to finish. That's kind of the gold standard to be considered a quote-unquote official finisher. But people finish this race in as little as 16 and a half days, or some people don't finish until 45 or 50 days later. I'll be gone basically almost a month and a half from work. I don't think that you can ever completely feel ready for this event, physically or mentally. This whole race is a matter of figuring out what you can absolutely do without and what you absolutely need. God, I love ice cream and I love beer. If there is an ice cream stop or I stop any place that has a beer along the route, I don't care if I'm racing or not. I'm having an ice cream, I'm having an ice cold beer. Things I'm taking that I could do without, but I don't want to. I'm taking a reasonably good camera. I have the ability to charge my iPod and my GPS and my camera all from a hub on the front of the bike. I guess in some ways that's a bit of a creature comfort, by having an iPod and those kinds of things, but music gets me through a lot of things. You spend a lot of time potentially by yourself, and everybody needs some ability to cope. It can change my mood. I'm going to have a climbing playlist. I'm going to have a cruising playlist. I'll have a playlist for when I'm kind of shitty, I guess, and I'm in a bad spot. I'll have some stickers here and there. I'll have the always popular Bike Iowa sticker. I'll have the pink chicken sticker. So the route is approximately 2,800 miles. We make somewhere around 33 or 34 crossings of the Continental Divide. The estimated climb is somewhere between 160 and 190,000 feet. The tallest point on the course is at 11,900 feet, and we hit that in Canada. Montana's the longest state, and oddly enough, Mexico is the second longest state. We're in Idaho for maybe 100. My first endurance race was a 200 miler that I finished on a recumbent trike, and I finished that in 14 hours. And then the next year, I kind of caught the gravel bug, so we started out with the Cup of Dirt challenge, and so January of whatever year that was, I took off with you and Squirrel and a couple other people, and we just busted out a 120-mile ride in the middle of January. And then it's gotten worse from there. So a typical day, I expect I'll be getting up at 5 in the morning. I will try and be moving by 5:30 or quarter to 6. If I'm camping, hopefully I've got some food with me. I can throw a few calories and some water in before I take off, and then, you know, try and figure out where the real breakfast is going to come. It basically comes down to kind of eat, sleep, and ride. You ride, and you ride, and you ride, and then, you know, some days you're going to feel like riding 70 miles. Some days you may only get 70 miles due to road conditions or weather or, you know, a number of other factors, but you ride till you can't ride anymore, and then you figure out if you're going to try and sleep in a bed and breakfast or a hotel, if you're going to bivvy along a road or in a U.S. Forest Service bathroom. 6 hours of sleep, maybe 7 hours of sleep a night on a good night, and then, you know, you roll over and you do it all again, and it just kind of consumes you.
This is obviously a very, very long race. What happens if the bike could break down? What happens if your brain breaks down?
You know, of those two things, the bike breaking down is probably the easier of the two things to fix. I can take spare parts. You figure out what's the most likely thing to break on the bike, and then you kind of odds. I'm bringing spare brake pads and spare tubes because you're going to get flats. You're going to run out of brakes because there's a lot of climbing and a lot of descending and a lot of braking to be done. And then I'm bringing spare cables for a shifter or spare brake cables. You know, spare nuts and bolts and little tiny parts and things like that. It's a delicate balancing act because you want to try and keep you and the bike as light as possible, but you also want to try and plan for everything that could possibly happen. Wrecks and weather and wildlife are all a possibility. You have to really be able to adjust your schedule to what the conditions are. Titanium Salsa Fargo. It's a mountain bike with road bars. Titanium frame, carbon rims, titanium seat post, Brooks Cambium saddle, and a lot of Cuban fiber frame bags. So no racks or panniers like Ragbri riders are typically using. Everything is soft-sided luggage and Velcros to either the handlebars or the frame or the seat.
And we've seen bike packing become extremely popular over the last few years. Several companies out there. Any of your favorites? I notice you might have a few manufacturers on your bike.
Yeah, most of my baggage comes from a company called Porcelain Rocket out of Calgary, Canada. They do some kind of stock bags, and then they also do custom bags depending on what you want. My plan right now is to start the race with a single pair of bibs, a single jersey, a base layer, and then arm warmers, leg warmers, a set of 3/4 length shorts, and then an assortment of hat and gloves. So I don't think there's a way that you can eat as many calories as you burn during this race. If you do the math and you're riding 17, 18 hours a day at 600 calories. You know, that's what, 10,000 calories a day. You take in food wherever you can find it. If it's a good day, you may get 2 warm meals. There's a lot of, if you find a diner or a restaurant or anything on the route, you go in, you eat as much food as you can, as quickly as you can, and you typically order a bunch of stuff to go. The rule of the day for a guy like me who doesn't have any dietary restrictions is high fat, a lot of protein, and a lot of carbs. So, you know, grilled cheese sandwich, chicken fingers. If I can strap a piece of pie to my bike and have it at the top of a climb, that will be a particularly special treat.
I think this is really going to test the limits on what he's tried to do. I'm pretty sure he's going to finish. Maybe not the way he thinks he's going to, but he will do it if it at all is in his power.
Is there ever a taper down period?
Yeah, I think that probably by mid-May, that will be my last long weekend. Again, I'll leave work at 5. I'm going to ride 6.5 hours camp. I'll probably do 125 to 130 miles Saturday. Another 100 miles on Sunday, and then that's going to be my last long training weekend. You can't really ever rest. Your body you need to. So there's a taper, but you need to keep your body in what is called fight or flight mode. If you don't keep riding and riding at a certain level of exertion, your body goes into rest mode, and that's not good. I need to keep my body expecting that it's going to be putting in long miles and days. So probably the last 2 weeks in May are going to be as much of a taper as I get, but it's not going to be a taper like a triathlete would normally go through or a road racer would go through before an event.